are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm Larck, on Twitter. Here, different episode today. I can't really say here talk about Auburn athletics, but different episode today because I have some gripes to make. I have a lot of grievances going on right now when it comes to college football because Auburn is now experiencing, I want to say it's the 15th transfer in this portal window, 16th. Or actually, correction, 17th. I forgot to add in the most recent one going on here. But it's an epidemic across college football right now. And just kind of getting into the two guys I'm going to mention today that have announced their intentions to transfer. One of those being Towns Magoo, which I've been speculating for a while based off of just his social media interactions of just posting clips of him practicing and making kicks in practice. But the ones I want to touch on, of course, Jay Crawford is going to be one of these. But today, Malik Blockton, a starting defensive tackle for Auburn University, announced his intentions to transfer out. And the weird part is, Auburn didn't fire Durkin. Auburn didn't fire Vontrell King-Williams. He still has both of his coaches on staff, but headed out for greener pastures, but still talking about how Auburn was a great feeling. And again, I think On to Victory still has a lot of maneuverability here when it comes to trying to get some of these guys back. I mean, I think there've been a lot of people talking about how Jay Crawford, probably isn't a done deal yet. And again, they still have plenty of time to change their minds. The portal opens up on January 2nd, and that's when everyone should start, going every which way. But to kind of get to what I want to get to today, I love college football. I have grown up a fan of this sport for my entire life. I have never, I'm moving my mic, so I apologize for this. I have never had a weekend where I was not keeping up college football. If I was out of town, if I was just going shopping with my fiance, I still had college football pulled up on my phone, trying to keep up with all the scores and whatnot. I love this sport to death. Like, it overtakes my weekends. But I absolutely hate what it's becoming. I hate it. It annoys the stew out of me what I'm watching here. I support players getting paid. I've always been a supporter of NIL, and I support players having the freedom to be able to transfer. But what we're getting right now is not that. It is utter chaos every single day of what we're watching. And it's not just hurting football, it's hurting every sport. Every sport gets affected by this. And football is at the forefront of college athletics. And every single year, the transfer portal gets flooded with guys who are starters transferring for a lateral move to another Power 4 school. Like imagining Malik Blockton transferring out of Auburn, starting D tackle, and he goes to, I just tried to think of another run-of-the-mill like LSU or Tennessee. Like, it's not a step up. It's really not. Unless, and it becomes more or less just a bidding war between schools now. And one thing that I hate about college football right now is the fact that the transfer portal isn't the transfer portal anymore. It's NFL free agency. And I understand to a certain extent that this has been going on for years. So before NIL, before it was legal, colleges were paying players so much money that none of the coaches are ever going to admit. But one of the other issues I have with this, and again, this kind of builds into other players. I mean, TJ Finley, if you didn't know about TJ Finley, he's in the transfer portal. He's applied for his 7th year of eligibility to play in college. TJ Finley was I believe, class of 2019, which is the year after I graduated high school. Since then, I have gotten my bachelor's degree. I have gotten a career job, and I've also gotten my master's degree. In the same time span from TJ Finley's first start to wherever or whenever he gets another one next year, if he even gets that year. Hopefully that stops. But I find that to be a big, fat issue with college football. It is these players just going every which way. The NCAA is doing such a terrible job with adjusting and flowing with what's going on. And it's because they keep losing legal battles, for starters, but you can't have this every year. It is so broken that there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of players every single offseason that are in the portal. Some of them, again, like for the second or third or fourth time. It's not feasible to continue this. It's not something that can continue to happen in college football or college sports. It should not be happening. Entire depth charts have to completely flip around yearly. Like I look at, Auburn quarterback situations. It's been back-to-back years where transfers have been Auburn starters. And there's Deuce Knight is the only, not Deuce, but Deuce and Hank Brown are the only Auburn quarterbacks that have started in the past 3 years that have not been transfers. 4 years. In the last 4 years, the only every starting quarterback outside of two for the 2 games they started for, or three games that were started, were not transfers. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And you're not getting any development done during that. Coaches are struggling to develop these players because they are just getting up and leaving at a moment's notice. And I fully believe that, there should be stipulations to when and what should be happening to a player to where they should just be allowed to transfer off willy-nilly. I don't think that you should just be able to – I don't think you should sign with the school, play only 1 season, and then transfer out immediately. Because, A, what's that doing to you in your college academic stuff? Student athletes, guess what you are? You're a student athlete, but you're only staying at the school for 1 dang semester, and then you're up out of there. That's not a thing that should be happening. And Lee Blockton is a true sophomore. Perry Thompson's a true sophomore. Malcolm Simmons is a true sophomore. Jay Crawford's a true sophomore. And you have all these guys who were starters. And I understand the coach left, and that can be a stipulation. But for Malik Blockton, dude, your coaches are still there. And one thing I just completely hate about it is, it's just based off of NIL. And again, I'm a supporter of NIL. I am, and I promise you that I am. I am A-okay with players getting paid for their name, image, and likeness. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is it being used to recruit players to the portal, from the portal, and from high school. NIL organizations should not be involved in negotiations or recruiting. In my opinion, you can have whatever opinion you believe in. I don't think that NIL funds and whatnot should be utilized in recruiting. It should be an incentive thing. You're getting you're paying buku-doodles of amount of money to get a 17-year-old to sign with your program. So now you have a 17-year-old who's making millions of dollars, while you have a senior who's worked his butt off to be a starter who is making maybe a couple $100,000, which still great money. I'm a teacher. Believe me, I wish I could get paid that much money to play football. I would love it. Absolutely love it. But you've turned the sport and you've allowed the sport to become, I'm talking about the NCAA now, you just have programs that are rewarding impatience. I assure you, and DJ Durkin talked about this in one of his press conferences about coaches trying to poach players off of rosters in the middle of the season. And you know what? If I'm Dirk and I can tell you which players it's happening to and I can tell you who's talking to them, I'm outing them. But the issue is it's happening everywhere. And it's a lot. It's so much crap about what's going on. Again, dude, I hate that they are basically speaking for the program. And I would love to be a fly on the wall during these things because, you have a You have guys who are 3 stars who can ball out just as well as the 5 stars can. And you'll offer the 5-star this amount of money to help boost your ranking and recruiting up. You pay the 3-star, well, here you go. You get what you get. And that guy couldn't have been your starter. I look at last year at Boise State. I would love to know how much money Boise State offered whatever his name was. God, the 5-star quarterback from USC. Offered him however much money to come there, and it ended up Madsen ended up being their quarterback. And not to mention, right after that dude lost his job to another 3-star quarterback. It's abysmal. The generation, like, I remember when college football was like, we were in the golden era of this sport. This sport is great. Players starting to get paid for doing it. We're about to get college football games. We're about to get all this stuff. And it's not happening. And it's kind of just becoming salty. I mean, I still enjoy watching college football, but when it comes to the offseason, dude, it's stressful as mess, dude. You don't have any of these. None of these guys are on I'm about to say on contract, but players are signing contract extensions in college football right now, which I find to be stupid. You have players signing again with the same school they signed to play with as a high schooler. Like, I can't, like, I'm looking back like a few years ago. Like, imagine like when they first announced NIL and you go back in time, you tell someone, hey, they're going to start doing contract extensions in the near future. You would lose your mind. And it's almost like if you're going to adopt the NFL offseason strategy here where everyone can just do whatever they want. Also, I think you should start, if you're going to do contracts, you need to start making sure that they are hitting incentives on that contract. Because, like, you're losing a lot of money just giving these guys these contracts and not letting them work for it. They're incentive-based stuff in every NFL contract. If they hit a certain number of yards, they get a Pro Bowl, they get this, they get that, the money goes up. You should have that same thing for college players. If you're going to go on a contract basis, you should be able to do that. Also, if you just want to be able to leave willy-nilly, I think, you know, if we're going to do NFL free agency wise, college teams should be able to trade. If the academic part of it no longer matters and it's not being enforced, I think adopt the trade. Adopt NFL trades. Go do that. And instead of draft picks or trading scholarship spots, you can do that. Because this is utter chaos every single offseason. And it's not even like G5 teams, like their starting quarterback who balled out all year, transfers out to go get bigger and better things and get his name out there more. It's not like that at the Power 4 level. Power 4 guys are transferring to lateral Power 4 schools and performing the same way. There's very little guys who just kind of transfer from one P4 school to one P4 school and truly ball out. Like, it happens less often than you would think. Like, you're gonna have guys come to your brain and that change, and you're like, okay, well, this guy. But then also, well, what about these other 2 guys over here that like transferred from Ohio State to Texas and didn't do anything? Like, I can like transferring from Oklahoma to Auburn doesn't necessarily mean you're going to ball out at that different school. You could very well be that same exact player, but because you're a big name, you're going to give them more money as they come over. And that's what happened. I don't like that NIL collectives have become a frontline force in not only recruitment of high schoolers, but recruitment of transfers. And I think that's a big problem. I also, again, a lot of this griping that I'm doing right now is going straight towards the NCAA, because I think they have ruined a lot of things here by not enforcing any of their rules more than they do. And again, I think a lot of it comes down from the fact that they absolutely do not win any of these battles they get themselves into, because they try to enforce the rule without backing. You know, they're trying to, like Tennessee a few years back, they tried to enforce those NIL rules with them, but the rules they were enforcing aren't written down anywhere. And it's absolutely stupid. Football gets away with so much stuff because of the amount of money that makes, and the NCAA knows that. You have to start doing that, dude, because what you're doing is all this NIL money and all these funds are going towards making sure your football programs are so good that is ruining sports that are not getting enough love from it. Gymnastics rocks. If you're not going to a gym meet, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Gym meets are awesome. Softball rocks. Baseball rocks. Auburn's great at equestrian. And, there's so many sports that don't make a revenue. They end every season in the red. And the continuance to not enforce what we're watching happen in football every year is harming the attention that should be going to those sports too. Like we talk about Auburn being an everything school, it's not going to happen if the NCAA does not do something about what we're watching before us. With these players just being able to go every which way. Like there should be like academic hardships, issues in the family, coaches leaving. Like those are things that you could be able to transfer for. But just for the money, after a couple of years for the school you signed with. And again, I read through Malik Blockton's thank you Auburn post, and it's like he said there's no better feeling. What do you mean there's no better feeling? Then why are you transferring then? If there's no better feeling than playing for Auburn or running out Jordan Hare Stadium. If there's no better feeling, wherever you go is going to understand that that their environment's not better than Auburn's environment. That makes zero sense to me. And again, I want to put this out there is I am not anti players getting paid. I'm not anti them transferring whenever their coaches leave. Or, I even think that playing time can play a big issue to this. But it's not the problem there. The problem there is, that there's limits to everything. And I think the limits have been pushed so far beyond the line that there's no turning back at this point unless something like drastic happens. I think we're going to see like college football is just going to break. There's going to come to a breaking point. And dude, I don't know. It's going to hurt a lot of things going forward. But again, I'm not asking this NCAA to ban NIL. And I'm not trying to trap players in a situation they don't want to be in. But there should be guardrails. There should be a system with strict rules that, you need to enforce, and there should not be any loopholes that these collectives can abuse and these players can get taken advantage of in. Again, I absolutely hate what college football is becoming and what the future of it holds. Because it's always like, what can we do to make a few extra money? What can we do to make some more money here? Can we make the playoffs longer? Make 24 teams, which I absolutely hate the idea of expanding the playoffs. Because here's the thing. You're proving to me you don't care about player safety. You don't care about it. Also, you don't care about SEC championships or ACC or conference championships. You don't care about those. You're just trying to make some extra money by putting more football games on TV. Well, guess what? What you're going to have is it's going to be diminishing return every single time. Like if we're in the round one of the playoffs and it's a 24-team bracket, I don't care who 24 and 21 are playing each other. Because that's what I assure you, they are not winning the championship. College football is not like the NFL, where anybody and anywhere can win the Super Bowl just by having a great playoff run. It doesn't work like that in college football. It works out in college basketball. College basketball, you can have Cinderella stories. You can't have that in football. I assure you, JMU and Tulane are not going to make it past the first round. I can tell you that because I can already tell you that Tulane and Ole Miss have already played each other. Despite the coaching change, talent-wise, Ole Miss is going to beat the crap out of Tulane. I can also assure you, Oregon, who has their coach and has all their talent, is going to beat the average living crap out of JMU. And it's going to be all the Power 4 teams back. I hate it. I hate it. And I have solutions that I think could work in the long run. Again, I think transfers for cause make sense. If a coach leaves, you can transfer. You're not getting any playing time, you can transfer. You're having family or academic issues, you can transfer. Real reasons deserve the ability to do that. But there's a limit. There is an absolute limit to the amount of things you can just do. Just for money? Absolutely not. Just for money? Absolutely not. And again, at some point, you need to relegate G4 or G6 and P4. Like, at some point, that's a minor in a major league that you need to start treating it as. And I mean, I'm all for G5, G6 playoffs. And they have their own champion. Power 4 has their own champion. I think it solves a whole lot of issues right there. And that, it's like soccer on the other side of the pond over there. They have relegation stuff. If you're really good, you get a chance to move up. And that's how it should be. To a certain extent. I don't know. Again, that's something that you could like draw out and kind of figure out how that would work in the long run. But I think it would go into fixing the dispersions between the two. But you should not be allowed to transfer willy-nilly is another thing I want to say here. Like, you get 2 transfers. I give you 2. 2 free transfers, and I'm being generous with that. 2 free transfers. If you go for a third, you need to require an NCAA waiver. And if you transfer for a 4th time, I don't think you should be able to play in the FBS anymore. I think you get downgraded to FCS or D2. You have to be committed to a school. At some point, commitment has to mean something in college football. And if you transfer 4 times in a row, you should be playing in the FCS. Like, you should be at Incarnate Word. You should be at, and I don't want to insult Incarnate Word. TJ Finley, again, is on his, 7th school in 7 years? However many, Auburn or LSU, Auburn, Western Kentucky, Texas State, Tulane for an off season, and Georgia State trying to transfer again. Yeah, no. Send him on to the FCS. There are a lot of schools looking for quarterbacks. Alabama State's quarterback is just about to transfer up to the P4 level because he played a really good season this year. So Bama State's looking for a quarterback. That's where TJ Finley should go. Like, you should not be allowed to transfer this many times. It is ridiculous. So you get 2. You get 2 free ones. You get a third. You get a waiver. For the 4th one, you're out of FBS. You can't go to a P4 school. You can't go to G6 school. You're going straight to the FCS. Like, you're going to Abilene Christian. You're going to, I don't want to insult Mercer that bad, but you're not playing at FBS anymore. So that's one of my other solutions here that I can see happen. I don't think true freshmen should be instant free agents. Again, you can transfer, but you need to have cause. Coaches leaving, academic, family issues. Those are good things. But if you don't have any of those reasons and you transfer out, I think you have to sit out for a year. I don't think you just get immediate eligibility. And I think it should be a longer process to get that. I think if you leave after 6 months, you should not be rewarded for it. I don't care how good of a player you are. I don't care if you're the next coming of Jerry Rice. You shouldn't be allowed to just transfer without cause. Just the up and leaving, the up and going. I think that's such a big issue today that players are just, again, the lateral moves. It's so annoying. It's all for money. All for money. And again, there are guys who are loyal to those schools and they stay with them, and those guys deserve all the respect in the world. But dude, it's ridiculous. And again, you're student athletes, and academics just get thrown out the window. Because I understand that's been like a stipulation. It's a dang, like, it's movie stereotypes that athletes don't really care about their academics all that much, which I don't believe in the slightest. I know a lot of athletes that I've been in school with before who absolutely, they work their butt off in school to get the recognition academically that they also work hard to get athletically. But you need at least 2 academic terms here, man. You're signing to a school and you are transferring before the spring term even begins. Like, you're midway. You just signed up for classes and you're up and out of there. So this should apply to everyone, and you should be working towards some kind of degree. As a college athlete, as a student athlete, there should be some kind of progress towards getting a degree. There's so many athletes out there that, didn't graduate and they're struggling because of it, because they didn't make it to the NFL. They didn't make the money they thought they could make. just by, just going off as they do. You should be trying to get this education that you are also paying for if you don't get a full ride. So I believe in that. And again, I will also back into where I said earlier. I don't think NIL should be allowed in recruiting. I don't think you should be making promises with NIL. You shouldn't. It's weird. And again, I'm all for NIL being a thing once a player signs. I think the bidding wars and the contact that happens before a student even signs is absolutely ridiculous. Like, there should not be high school athletes getting told about NIL deals that they can get. Because it was Trent Seaborn, the guy who beat Auburn High's butt as a 7th grader at Thompson. Dude was getting promised as a sophomore, junior in high school to transfer out of state and get some NIL deals. What? No. That is the stupidest thing ever. It's the dumbest thing ever. Endorsements are fine when you're playing for a team, but these bidding wars and, just being like a player who's not on the team and NIL gets mentioned, it's a constant bidding war. And again, it's the NCAA is not the NFL. There should not be NFL free agency coercing with college football offseason. It shouldn't be the case. And again, even in the NFL, free agency is not this crazy because those players are contractually obligated to play for a certain number of years. And if they request a trade, they don't get any money from the school, from the team. Honestly, it's almost as if you should start signing them to certain year deals. If they want to act like they're professional athletes, sign on multi-year deals. Instead of a letter of intent to play, make them sign a 2-year deal. They have to play at least 2 years. And there have to be incentives on there. If you get to 1,000 yards your freshman year, you get to 1,000 yards sophomore year, something like that. It's just that crazy. And these agents are ruining college football by not making that happen or not doing that. And again, I'm not wanting to take the money away from the athletes. I'm not wanting to take the money away from college sports. I'm all for, having college football. I'm all for having the players first. But this is not that. What this is becoming is a chaotic mess. And college football is a semi-pro sport. It's not pro. And again, I don't believe in contracts and salary cap and, all this other stuff. But there's also, there's no structure to it. You can't have all these pro incentives without having the structure behind it. There's no accountability here. And unless NCAA actually steps up and does something and, you're going to have, I fully believe in a few years, all of these, these conferences are going to split off. And there's going to be an SEC champion. There's going to be your national champions. There's going to be all the conference champs. And again, past football, you're going to have so many sports get cut because of the amount of money flow that's only going into college football. That as soon as it gets in, instead of going out to the other sports, it's going into recruiting guys to bring back to the football team. And it's a constant recruiting cycle of getting guys to sign with your school from high school, getting guys to sign again with your school while you're already there, and getting guys to sign from another school to you. And it's just a constant mess. And that's why I feel like we've seen a lot of these college staffs get so much larger and larger through the years because the head coach can't do all this junk anymore. This is ridiculous. Coaches are retiring because of how just stupid this is. And you're going to get smaller programs like these smaller like Akron and UMass, these non-money maker schools that are going to get squeezed, and it's just going to ruin it. And when college football loses the soul, everyone loses. There's no competitive balance anymore. Fans, I mean, the diehards will stay, but the fair weather ones and anyone who's not all in on anything, they're gonna start disengaging. And again, it's going to ruin college football. And again, I love college football, but I absolutely hate what it's becoming. Player freedom should be protected. Chaos should not be rewarded. And if the NCAA will not enforce the rules, this sport will collapse under its own weight. College football needs accountability, and we're not getting that, and it's not happening. And it's absolutely ridiculous that college football is becoming whatever this amalgamation is. I want to call it NFL free agency, but it's not that. There's a structure to it. It's just a madhouse as soon as the season ends. Again, 1,000 players last season entered the portal, and I'm going to tell you, it's not going to get any lower than that. Again, Malik Blockton, I wish him the best of luck. But that is a massive loss to a team, and unless he goes, I don't even know what to really say. I can't really whenever you're a starting D tackle and your coaches are still there that you were excited to play for. What it's not a improvement. It's a lateral move almost. And I appreciate all the guys who are I'm coming back. Loving the fact that Xavier Atkins announced his return. But it shouldn't be the case. I still remember a few years back when I didn't have to worry about my favorite players just transferring out because they were starters and they were going to be starters the next year and they were on pace to go to the NFL and they were going to get called out. Xavier Atkins, Auburn University. And that's my favorite thing to hear at the NFL draft is hearing a guy get drafted out of my favorite school, out of my favorite team. I loved it because it made me feel more proud as a fan of the team. But now, as college football gets more and more chaotic, I'm hearing guys that I watched play at Auburn for 2-3 years, and then I hear someone else draft them. And they get drafted. It's baffling to me because I hear Bo Nix, and I think of Bo Nix as an Auburn quarterback, but he's not because he got drafted from Oregon. And again, I think that was I don't want to say that was the start of the transfer portal thing, but it's just been an absolute mess. And I understand it's going to be a little crazy because all these coaches were up and gone. And again, some of the Auburn guys, you have that freedom because your coach did get fired. But you have guys transferring out of school. You have Trinidad Chambliss, the starting quarterback for Ole Miss, getting ready for a playoff game, got asked by the portal, and he said, we're just going to see what happens. Dude, you have a playoff game this week. What do you mean you'll see what happens? Nah, dude, I'm about to play my butt off this game and then get to, I'm not answering transfer portal questions. What are you talking about? So again, this was a large spiel that I had to have because I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the portal. I'm not sick of players being able to transfer. I'm not sick of players getting paid. I'm sick of the lack of enforcement. I'm sick of the lack of guardrails. I'm sick of the chaotic mess that college football becomes every single offseason at this point. It's utterly ridiculous, and something's got to change. We're going to go and get out of here. I would thank everyone who's tuned in to some of the College League podcast. No, it's not Auburn. It's Auburn centric in some aspects of it, but for the most part, I just wanted to get this off my chest because the more people that vocalize their opinions and try to push for change, the more likely I feel like it's bound to happen. And again, if you don't agree with my rules that I would love to get that I find as solutions, that's fine. But there's got to be some solutions out there. There's got to be. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Summer College Podcast. Again, you follow me right here. I'm getting so very close to 2,000 subscribers over here at The Loop. And of course, if you're looking for me anywhere, you got me on Twitter, TikTok, or Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at @YouBulletTank, Instagram at Larck, DYLNLRCK. Of course, I'm right in the College Podcast right here on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave your solutions for the NIL era and transfer portal era of college football and how it can be fixed if it can. Almost as if you should just throw it out the window, stop it for a year, and then pick it back up another year because this is an utter mess. Utter mess. But it's going to do it for some College Podcast yet again. And as always, War Eagle.